Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This week, the brand new Dragon Age title, the Veilguard, dropped from Bioware. Same people who brought us Origins and Inquisition, as well as the beloved Mass Effect series. Basically, Bioware has a coin, and on that coin there are two sides. One side is Mass Effect, and the other is Dragon Age. They have other projects, obviously, but these two are sort of the two sides of the same coin. They just have a different setting, right? Mass Effect is in space, Dragon Age is a fantasy setting, but the concept is much the same. There's always a global catastrophe involving some all-powerful entities, and we have to unite the strongest forces in the known world to combat this new threat. The Veilguard is no different, and it's nothing new in that regard. If you've ever played a Mass Effect or Dragon Age game, then this will feel like going back to the same restaurant a few years later, right? The menu may have changed a bit, but you get the same general vibe, okay? But today I want to break down my thoughts on the Veilguard so far along my journey and let you know if you should purchase it, right? So let me get through the disclosures real fast, and then we can get into the meat of the video. Okay, first off, this video is not sponsored by EA. I was not required to submit this video for EA approval, and I was given no content brief with rules about what I am and am not allowed to say or show, okay? That being said, I got the game for free, okay? They just sent me a Steam code and that's it, okay? It wasn't pre-launch access. I got it at the same time that everyone else did, and I have zero sponsored deals with them currently to make videos for cash, okay? Now that we got all of that out of the way, let me start telling you the good and the bad, what I like, what I don't like about the Veilguard. And the goal of this video is just to present you with information, okay? And let you be the judge of what you want to spend your hard-earned cash on, okay? I'm not your dad. What I'll do is break this down into two sections. First the good, then the bad, okay? So kicking things off with some positivity. I'm already really impressed with the length of the game, yeah? I've heard people who had early access say that they dumped 80 plus hours into a single character playthrough, and that's like seriously impressive for an RPG. I mean, I've got juiced out Skyrim characters with half that playtime and mostly everything checked off the list. I myself am sitting on a little over 15 hours of playtime so far, and my journal with quests is extremely long. Not to mention all the random side quests that you just sort of discover out there. So if you're looking for a game that you can really sink your teeth into and get lost in for a while, this one might have that box ticked for you. The second positive thing I want to say is that the game is visually quite nice. These skyboxes have a lot to take in. If you take a minute to look up and look around you, many of the locations are breathtaking, especially when we get some of the weather effects like lightning and whatnot mixed in. And I will say that those visuals come at a price though, okay? My 3090 Ti was running a little hot on my longer sessions. Not dangerously hot, that I felt like I needed to shut it down, but the fans were definitely worrying. Obviously, you console players won't have to worry about that. Also talking about the visuals, this applies to the abilities during combat too. There's a lot of visual feedback that just sort of feels good. It's kind of arcade-like in nature, lots of flashes and colors and playful animations to make you feel powerful. Like when I cast my necromancer magic on the ground and little ghostly green hands reach up out of the green pool to grab my enemies. That looks really good. All in all, it's just all around pleasing on the eyes to play this game. Third positive, the customization feels meaningful. The skill trees have lots of tendrils to invest in. You can mix and match different fighting styles or dive into specializations at level 20 to take you even further down a specific rabbit hole. But you can also customize your teammates' abilities and set them up in such a way that they can support and complement your fighting style easily. For example, I do a lot of area lockdown stuff with my necromancer mage. I'm creating these pools of goo on the ground. So Balera has an ability that is sort of like a black hole, sucks everything into one singular location and then does big AoE damage. And then I can put my AoE on the ground underneath them. So they're sort of stuck in it for a while. And then I can have them get frozen in my pool too, using Nev's abilities. So it's just, you've got a lot of options here in tailor-making how your team is going to handle combat and what they're going to be really good at. You can also customize and upgrade your gear for specific meaningful stat boosts. You can change your outfits, even transmog your gear so you can be wearing heavy armor but look like flowing mage robes. But already I'm fighting the urge to start another character just to experience combat in a different way. I'm sure I'll eventually make another character and do it all over again. And on top of that, the character customization choices I made at the creator screen, they ended up actually mattering a lot so far in the game. My necromancy background has been a topic of many discussions. I have unique dialogue options because of it, and certain characters really respond to me in unique ways due to it. So all that to say, yeah, customization feels meaningful so far in the game. The last positive thing I want to talk about is the non-linear feeling that Bioware creates. So most missions are fairly linear. You follow waypoints from start to finish and then it's done. But many spaces actually open up quite a bit with alternate routes that lead you to side quests that you didn't know existed. There's trips into a dreamlike state to fight through historical events. There's lots of extra loot to find, like weapons and armor and outfits and trinkets, but also stat points to find and puzzles to solve that award you major boosts in your total hit points. There really is a lot to do and find. Not to mention, you're going to end up with so many companion-related quests that you'll be drowning in places to go and stuff to do. So BioWare was able to create that feeling that you have the power of choice as a player, even when the missions are linear. And with that, let's move on to some negatives, okay? So, yeah, here we go. We're going to balance out the video here. We said a lot of positives. Now let's talk about the cons, the drawbacks. So first up, I want to talk about the character aesthetic in Veilguard, okay? The character aesthetic. Listen, sometimes it works, and sometimes it just doesn't. Like, some dudes look really masculine and cut and well-defined when others look sort of deflated, emaciated, or just sort of like you took a normal human man and made him drink a turn just slightly smaller potion. Some women look like real women, but most of them look like you took a normal woman and then made her legs 12 inches shorter than they should be and 4 inches wider. And I'm not like a loser, creeper, weirdo who wants all characters to be unreasonably attractive in a video game. It's not about that at all. It's more that the general human shape and proportions just kind of seem off, right? Off enough to make it feel weird and alien. But like I said, some characters look great despite the aesthetic direction they chose. Like Tash looks great. Nev looks great. Isabella, when you meet her, she looks great. You can make Rook look really good. The first Warden has like this striking disposition too. So most characters just kind of look strange, but some it looks really good on. But all in all, I'm still just trying to get used to it. The next negative observation is that the writing is extremely inconsistent. Sometimes it feels really natural, and then sometimes it feels like whiplash with how poor it is. One cutscene, you've got a really heartfelt performance from one of our voice actors, and then 15 minutes later, you've got one of the main characters watching a close friend die, and he literally just stands up and goes, well, she's dead, let's move on. And I'm like, bro, do you maybe want to take a moment? And then he finds another friend dead shortly after that, and he just sort of casually observes it. He's like, he's dead too. And that's all he says. And you're like, bro, you might maybe just sit with this a moment, you know? And you might think, maybe he's just putting it off, you know, he'll grieve when the mission's over. But you go and you talk to him afterwards, he just sort of never brings it up again. And then you've got this disconnect between the voice actors and the character models. Like in one cutscene, an NPC got some incredible news that had his voice actor pretty elated, really happy, right? But his character model literally turned his back on the person delivering the good news and scowled like he was just pissed, while the voice actor was really excited. It was very strange to witness. So between the writing and the animations of the characters during the cutscenes, it's kind of hit or miss. You could be getting a great combination of good writing, good animation, and good voice acting, but in many scenes, you're only getting 1 or 2 out of the 3 at once, and that's kind of tough to sit and watch. And the last negative thing that I'll say is this: Dragon Age the Veilguard seems to have left behind a lot of what makes these fantasy RPGs feel authentic, in that it refuses to be any amount of dark, okay? We've got dark themes, right? Evil gods, blight, etc., but it's really tame in its delivery. The necromancy magic in this game doesn't like summon undead zombies to fight by your side or anything like that. It's just sort of green magic. And when really hard topics come up in discussion, many characters just sort of laugh it off or are way too playful with it instead of really letting the gravity of the conversation weigh on them. Not only that, but I've had to make some tough choices in the game already, and there are minimal consequences for the actual player for me. NPCs that I let down forgive me very quickly and move on. Any tension between two NPCs gets peacefully resolved almost immediately, and sometimes it seems to break character to do so. Vash, for example, gave me whiplash with a moment pretty early in the game after meeting her, where she sort of breaks her stoic character vibe to offer a single, out-of-place, heartfelt comment that was sort of strange and inorganic. So all this to say, I do wish the game would let itself really play around with some heavier and darker tones. It goes up to the line and then it rapidly turns back instead of stepping over the line and allowing the player to really feel that weight. And I would get it if this was like a rated T for teen and we were trying to target a younger audience, but we've got nudity in here, we've got swearing in here. Like, this wasn't made for children, and I wish that sometimes developers would trust adults to be able to handle adult situations, right? And adult scenarios, and not be off-put by it. But that's basically it for the negatives. Dragon Age the Veilguard is, overall, a lighthearted RPG with endearing characters, fun arcade-like combat, flashy visuals, and a beautiful world to dive into. But the aesthetic is unique, bordering on unsettling at times, and the writing sometimes leaves me wanting more. But ultimately, it's a very fun game with plenty of content to chew on for many weeks. And the last thing I'll say about this, that I know has been a hot topic of debate, is this. I'm going to ask you guys, let's be mature when we talk about this. Again, trusting adults to have adult conversations. But anyways, I have not yet been infected by the whole woke mind virus in this game. I know a lot of people seemed concerned about this. I've seen clips on Twitter. I've seen rage posts online about this game trying too hard to push modern left agendas on players. And I do want to be at least a little sensitive to concerns like that. You know, a lot of players just want to escape from reality for a while in a game, and they don't always appreciate when a developer tries to use their game to teach us about modern problems or ethical and moral dilemmas. But at the same time, I also think that the developers are often just trying to express to their audience what kinds of things are important to them too. But that being said, outside of character creation, I've experienced no pushy, like, liberal stuff of any kind. And as far as character creation stuff goes, that has literally never bothered me before. It's just like walking down the hygiene aisle in the grocery store to get my deodorant. When I pass the tampons, I don't get mad. I know those aren't for me, and I keep walking to get the item that is for me. Character creation options for transgender people, they have never bothered me for the same reason. I know that's not for me, and I keep moving, and I don't have to interact with it at all if I don't want to. So if any of you were worried about some huge woke agenda in this game, I sure haven't seen one yet, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that personally. Anyway, I figured I'd offer my 2 cents on that topic, since according to the YouTube comments sections on other Dragon Age videos, a lot of people are apparently really concerned about it. So I haven't seen any of it yet. So there you have it. Those are my initial impressions of the Veilguard. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching the video today. If you enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like in the video, as that's the best free way to support the content here on YouTube, and consider subscribing for additional Dragon Age content. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the next one.